In today's video, I'm going to break down 3 boundary mistakes you are making every single day in your relationship that are actively destroying her respect and trust. And more importantly, I will show you the exact counterintuitive shifts you can implement alone starting today to reclaim your emotional leadership and make her feel safe and thus re-attracted to the man you become. You know you've lost her respect when the conversations change and she rolls her eyes when you talk. She questions your decisions on silly small things and also uses your past failures and vulnerability against you. That feeling can be a slow, grinding dismissal of your value as a man. And here is the absolute hardest truth you need to hear right now. The loss of respect isn't happening to you, it's happening because of the relationship environment you have been unintentionally leading. Most men think that they need to talk their way back into respect, but no woman has ever been argued back into desire, and you cannot talk your way back into attraction. You have to lead your way there. Respect is not something she gives you, it is something she can't help but feel when you demonstrate clear, confident, and consistent boundaries and emotional leadership in the relationship. Before we get into the mistakes, we must define the battlefield. Why does respect die? Well, respect dies because you stopped embodying masculine containment. The fundamental need a woman has is to feel safe and secure in the presence of her man's grounded strength. When you set clear, self-respecting boundaries, you are signaling to her that you are a safe, predictable, and defined leader, and she can rely on your judgment. But when you lack those boundaries, you signal to her that you are needy, you are reactive, and your identity can be swayed by her mood and by her emotions. That ambiguity, that lack of an anchor, is what makes her feel unsafe. So if she continues to perceive you as a man that needs her emotional management, respect cannot be there fully or at all. The 3 mistakes we're about to cover are the 3 ways you are letting your boundaries fall apart, forcing her to pick up the emotional leadership burden that she never really wanted in the first place. Boundary mistake number 1, the emotional shield failure. This is a polarity killer. The crux of this mistake is that you are letting her emotions dictate yours. The biggest failure in containment is letting her mood become your own personal emotional measuring stick. If she comes home and seems distant, you get anxious and needy and start instantly chasing her for validation. If she criticizes you, you get defensive, angry, or you crumble into a self-pity mode. What she sees when you do this is a man whose core emotional state is a reactive one. You are not a stable anchor. You are a ship whose direction is fully dependent on her prevailing wind. And I know this to be the case because I did this for so long in my life and kept getting the same results. I would always be in a positive, happy mood, but as soon as my partner would come home and if she was acting distant, my frame would disappear and I would collapse into a state of trying to seek her validation that everything is okay, almost asking for permission to be happy if she isn't. All that would lead to is me chasing her emotions and trying to make things better, but actually making things worse in the meantime because my emotions were heightened with frustration while I was trying to do this. The reality is that a woman is subconsciously testing for emotional containment. She needs to know your groundedness is real before she opens up emotionally. When you react, you fail the test. She doesn't feel safe because she knows you can't even contain your own emotion, let alone the relationship's stress levels. So the solution to this is you have to develop being a leader with calm strength. You have to establish a boundary around your emotional peace. This means that your core emotional state must become independent of her behavior. You choose to be a grounded, calm, and purposeful regardless of whatever mood she shows up in. So when she launches a criticism at you or tests you, you have to not argue and defend yourself or react in any way. You simply state your non-negotiable standards and follow through with those boundaries. If she's being critical of you in a rude manner, you can tell her that you're happy to talk to her, but you are not going to engage in a conversation where it's just harshly directed criticisms instead of a loving conversation. If she continues, you have to calmly remove yourself from that conversation and say you would love to resume it later in a more respectful and loving way. You don't stand there being an emotional punching bag for her. When you set this kind of boundary and actually enforce it, you're ensuring that there is a mutual respect and you're setting the relationship conditions for it. This is masculine containment of emotions at its best. Boundary mistake number 2, the performance failure, which is essentially the integrity killer. The mistake with this boundary is that you're using performance to try and earn her affection or approval. After a fight or when you feel the distance growing between you and her, you go into this mode where you buy her flowers or step up and offer to do all the chores. The problem is all of these actions are done with an attachment to an outcome you're trying to get. You are doing them to fix her mood and get a positive reaction from her and essentially earn her forgiveness. She will see the effort, but she smells the neediness and, quite frankly, the panic that's behind it. She feels the pressure to perform back to you, which is what makes this whole thing feel transactional. This confirms to her subconscious that you are externally validated and that you basically require her approval to feel good about yourself. All of this taking place is the opposite of attraction. When you are performing for attraction, you're essentially completely abandoning your own sense of self-respect. She loses respect because you are teaching her that she is the gatekeeper of your emotional worth, which is an exhausting burden for her to carry. So the solution in this boundary is to act from integrity, not from a place of need. You have to establish a boundary around your own self-respect and integrity. This is one of the biggest aha moments that changed my entire life after I was sick of the decade plus of just pain and heartbreak in romantic relationships, because everything in my life was going great in terms of career growth and family, but my frustration was giving away my self-respect by acting from a place of need with my spouse. In fact, my favorite pillar in the relationship rebuild program is the self-respect and identity pillar, because it is such a core piece of the transformation that you go through. If you want to learn more, go watch my free Relationship Rebuild Masterclass after this video. The link is in the description below. But for most of my life, I subscribed to the happy wife, happy life idea in my romantic relationships that we are just bombarded with in society. And it just destroyed attraction and connection in my romantic relationships. You have to commit to making the changes you want because it aligns with the man you want to transform into, not because you want her to return or because you want her approval. When you start this journey, it will change everything for you. And finally, boundary mistake number 3, the purpose boundary failure, which is essentially the identity killer. This is where you have allowed her and the relationship to become your central defining purpose. Before the marriage or relationship went south, you likely had a vibrant purpose, a career mission, a committed hobby, a commitment to fitness, or a strong social circle. But over time, you became complacent and you started to let those boundaries erode. So now, her mood and the state of the relationship consumes about 90% of your mental bandwidth because you've essentially given up on some, if not all, of those other things. During this period of time, which can be years when this happens, she subconsciously starts to feel a man who lacks direction or mission that exists outside of her. She doesn't want to be the whole world of the man she is with. She wants to be a cherished part of a man's overall compelling world. When you abandon your purpose to chase the relationship, you destroy your own identity and groundedness. She loses respect because she feels that pressure and the fact that her presence is the only thing keeping you whole. That is a massive emotional burden and the opposite of leadership and attraction. You have to find time to prioritize your mission, and when you do so, you are not punishing her. You're demonstrating the self-respect that she needs to feel safe with you. You prove that your worth is not dependent on the relationship, which paradoxically makes you dramatically more magnetic. You've now seen the 3 critical mistakes that kill respect. The common thread in all of them is that you are asking your wife to lead, manage, or validate you. You have to become the leader in the relationship through your masculine presence. It can feel like it's not easy to unlearn everything that society has taught you, but I promise you, if you take that step and you want to save your relationship, this is the only true way and fastest way to do it. If you nodded your head at any point in this video, or if you recognized even one of these boundary mistakes in yourself, then I want you to hear this clearly. Nothing is wrong with you. You were just never taught this as a man. I had to find this out the hard way myself. That is precisely why I built the free Relationship Rebuild Masterclass. It teaches you the framework to shift from passive, approval-seeking, or reactive to grounded, values-led, and confidence. It is leadership training. It has nothing to do with traditional therapy. It is specifically designed for the man who is trying to lead his relationship out of crisis alone. The link for that free Relationship Rebuild Masterclass is in the description below. I highly encourage you to watch it and take the next step in creating a real plan to save your marriage. If this video helped you understand that you have the power to change your situation, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Also, check out this video on 5 reasons why your life is losing respect for you and how to rebuild it. I will see you guys in the next episode.